Alright, happy Monster Train 2 release day, friends. You know, it's been a bit since I've been able to make a video, but, you know, life and all that finds a way and gets in the way. But anyway, yeah, so I have everything unlocked, so this is your fair warning. If you care about spoilers, maybe wait a few days or however long to watch this video. So go ahead and pause it, save it to your watch later, however you want to go about it. This is your official warning. Alright, here we're gonna go. And I plan on doing some more meta-focused videos at some point, but I figured there's some gameplay to start things out is appropriate. And we're just gonna go full random here, at least in the context of what I want to show is the new clans here that are in Monster Train 2. And yeah, let's go ahead and hit it here. I hope we'll get Lazarus League. I thought about maybe just purposely choosing them. Looks like we got them anyway. Not my favorite variant, but it'll do. Great. Pyre of Dominion. Well, that's gonna make the run screwy. Hey, perfect first video here. Anyway, so Pyre of Dominion. This is a crazy pyre. Probably, it's in my pick for top 2 best pyres. It basically removes all of your starting cards, other than the 3 you see here, and replaces them with stuff that you get to pick. It does mean you get doubles of whatever you pick, but it's just such a powerful pyre, if you think about it, because it's like, it already starts you off with a really thin deck, and pretty much, starter cards aren't typically as strong as the draft picks that you're going to be making, so it's pretty god tier. And then we got Pyre of Dominion, so that's not really a problem for Lazarus League. I mean, honestly, once you get good with Lazarus League, nothing's really a problem for you. That's what I really like about them, but this Dominion Seraph has a ton of incoming damage to, especially your front line, but even your back line has a lot of damage over time. So, and I'm gonna try to explain things as I do them, but there's just so much to go over. So, forgive me if I gloss over anything. Pushback Archon, generally the easiest Archon, but something to think about if I do have like some frontline shenanigans. And then Damage Shield Kale, I would say it's definitely the easiest of the Kales, just not much threat there, although maybe for Underlegion it can be annoying. Now you start with the Rot, really good starter card. This is kind of like the Ritual of Battle of offensive damage over time spells. It's a bit overcosted at 3, but as we know, Merchant of Magics can easily make this thing cheap or double stack it and whatnot, and then it becomes quite a powerhouse. And especially in the early game, it's just going to carry it. It kills any unit in the game, and it kills the bosses pretty much single-handedly. Definitely one of my favorite starting cards is Rot. And Pseudoscience is not too bad either. A little bit random in what you're going to get from it, but generally you can build into it if you really want to make it work. Otherwise, it's just kind of nice to have. Now, Squad Leader, on the other hand, I think this unit sucks. So yeah, we're Underlegion. I forgot to even mention that. This is a clan that I predict a lot of people are going to like. A lot of people seem to be pretty excited for this Mushroom clan. And I do like them, but for me personally, the Lazarus League is by far my favorite of the new clans. And then, yeah, we'll hit it here. Luckily, because I'm Pyre of Dominion, I will have extra banner units set so that we don't have to worry about Squad Leader sucking it up. Anyway, We got Mushroom Cloud, really strong starter, or a really strong card, but because I don't have a starter, you know, my starters would allow me to make Fungi, which are these little mushrooms. It's pretty bad for me to take this kind of over the others when the others are just really good. Mulch. Mulch is not that good with Pyre of Dominion because we're going to have a thin deck typically. This is a card you usually want to have 30 or more cards in your deck. That way you just get a 0 cost draw 2. It's essentially the OG invigorating solution at that point. And then Pandemic is the one we're going to choose. This is similar to Rot. It has less damage, however it is cheaper, and it has sap, so it provides some defense, which is always nice. Plus, if we do have, there is like some etch synergy in the Underlegion clan. So, Pandemic is just generally a card, one of my favorite cards too, as well. It's just a very solid card similar to Rot that opens up a lot of stuff. Pandemic opens up more stuff actually because of this consume mechanic. There's a few cards that interact with your consume pile and etch, so the fact that it copies itself is really nice. So we'll take 2 of them. Ooh, nice. So these are all of them are pretty good. Faulty Body is typically the best here. However, it may not be good with Pyre of Dominion. The reason is, you'll notice Faulty Body makes you fragile, and that would be pretty bad with if we don't get something to support that. You know, usually it comes in the form of something called Reanimate, which is a main one of the main mechanics of Lazarus. However, we don't have any Reanimate currently, other than Pseudoscience, but it's a bit unreliable, right? So Pseudoscience, 1/3 of the time we play it, will give us Reanimate 1. So I don't know that I want the Faulty Body, even though the ceiling is way high. I mean, it's 40 spikes for 1 Ember, and the Fragile might just not even matter in a lot of cases. But I don't know, it's a little risky to take. We could take the less risky option called Risky Operation, which is basically a razor-sharp edge with no downside and only upside, which is alright. It's offensive scaling, which this clan combo sometimes might lack, but I also find I don't need offensive scaling with this clan combo because I can usually kill things purely with debuffs. Like, I could just stack enough spikes and literally clear everything if I can find a way to make Faulty Body work. And then Horrify is just nice to have. I mean, it's days 1. It's not amazing, but you know, if we don't end up with a bunch of Reanimate, we may want it to secure a game plan against Seraph. It's really good to daze Seraph, the Dominion variant, because its attack is devastating in a lot of cases. So they're all good. We could just take the one that might have the most general use, which is Risky Operation, plus it's going to absolutely demolish the early game. I mean, 2 lifesteal, that's an immortal trade pretty much, and a razor sharp edge together. So we'll probably take that. Okay, this is interesting. Both of these are really good cards. Cluster Kernel would give us a way to actually get those fungi that I was talking about that we don't have because of our Pyre of Dominion. Cluster Kernel is just a nice... Both of these units are nice because you just kind of plop them down and they passively benefit you. And on that note, one thing I will say, at least in my experience, a big thing I like about Monster Train 2 compared to 1 is I'm very often running multi-floor setups. And it's arguably correct to do so. You know, you're not just playing on the top floor with 1 floor like 95% of Monster Train 1 did. Not saying that that doesn't happen from time to time in Monster Train 2, but I would say like 75% of the time I'm running a multi-floor setup. And both of these are good for that. You know, you can usually just put the puffball on the bottom floor. It's kind of like a Titan Sentry, essentially, more or less. But there's more support in this clan to keep this thing alive other than just slapping Endless on it. That's one thing I like about it. Whereas a Cluster Kernel just sort of scales your own floor instead of damaging the enemy floor. There's also rally synergy in this clan. We may or may not get it. Another thing to keep in mind is the cluster kernel does cost 2, whereas the puffball only costs 1. I also think the puffball is just stronger early, so I think we're going to lean toward the puffball here. Though, yeah, I think it's good. I think the pseudoscience also benefits the puffball more. The lifesteal won't matter, but we have the risky operation that we can add attack to it, and then it would matter. So then that makes it so pseudoscience hits. All 3 of those are going to be a hit for the prickly puffball, so I think that's the call there. Now normally I would take a pincushion here because, well, you know what, another time, another day. I don't want to like talk for 2 hours on this video. I only have so much time. But I'm going to take meat hook because it immediately gives me benefit, whereas pincushion isn't going to do anything for me, but I can perma-scale it. But I have nothing to perma-scale it with at the moment, and I may never end up with anything, so I might as well just take the unit that has really good stats and a really good ability to start with. Okay, almost certainly I think we're going to take the Spore Singer here. I think this champ is pretty good, Madame Lionsbane. All 3 of her paths are viable. Actually, the path that is not pictured here is my favorite of her paths, which gives her like an ability. It's called Maneater, and I'm probably the only person that in the beta testers that thinks that. But I still hold to it. I think it's just the most useful. But you know, these are obviously really good too. I think the Spore Singer is really good here though, because you'll notice it says that it applies an extra decay every time. 2 extra stacks of decay. So this now becomes 7 decay to each attacker instead of 5, and your Rot is a little bit better, and your Pandemic is a little bit better. Plus, she just passively also applies some decay. We're just going to apply crap loads of decay, and that's going to be pretty good. We're solving most of the game with this decay, other than maybe Kale. Kale will be getting damage shields, which could be a little bit annoying. However, one nice thing about Rot is it also deals damage, so I could break the damage shield with the Rot. And I could give some attack to the puffballs. Yeah, it's definitely Spore Singer. Ooh, interesting. Well, the fun guy thing would have been interesting, but we didn't really go that route, so we don't take that. But the sketches is a neat change from Monster Train 1. You'll notice instead of placing 4 random units in the middle floor, instead what it's going to do is it'll take 3 units from your deck, which seems like a downgrade, but it's actually not, because we have the deployment phase coming up. And I'll show you what that's all about, but basically it's way easier to get all your banners out in this game compared to Monster Train 1, and as a result, Sketches just has to function a little differently. And so basically all 3 of my floors will get a random unit summoned to the back of it. Now I can use that to my advantage to sort of cheat out units that are not priority draw banner units, if I ever need to. There are some good ones in this clan combo, but we're still going to take it anyway because I'm not going to be able to play all of these units out anyway, and they're just going to come in for free, which will be nice. Mark of Invasion, alright, easy trial with what we got. Now, I'm going to say this as well. Monster Train 2 is definitely harder than Monster Train 1 in my experience, especially if you're committing to no reloads. You know, I've been able to get a pretty good streak with reloads, but with no reloads, it's pretty hard for me to get a good streak going together. Whereas, like in Monster Train 1, I could get over 100 without reloading. I have not been able to get, I don't know, without reloads, I think I haven't even got 10 yet. I think I got to about 10 without reloading. It's definitely a much harder game, but I like it. There's a lot more problems to solve. I forget what I was even saying, why I was even saying any of that. But anyway, we're going to make sure that we put a puff ball on both of these floors. The Mark of Invasions typically are harder in this game than they were in Mars Train 1, though the first one is not so bad. It's about the same. So we'll put them there. They'll clear these floors. I'll put Madame Landsbane down here because I want her to apply the higher amount of decay down here. I could also have put her at the bottom, but I might as well put her here, especially for the boss. And we're going to try to focus our lifesteals on this puffball here. And then not much else left to do. We're going to go like this, maybe like that. And then this meat hook, I think it's random which of the three it goes on, but we'll hope that it gets onto one of the top floors or the middle floor here. Yeah, it looks like it went to the bottom. Okay, so we have some options here. Obviously, all of these are cleared. Now I could save myself 3 damage by dazing one of these with the meat hook. Doesn't seem like super worth it to me. However, there's not much else for the meat hook to do, so I might as well. So what we'll do is we'll do that, save 3 damage, because you'll notice the cooldown on that ability was 2. That means, you know, these guys are already dead, so he doesn't need to daze any of them. And then that means by the time this guy gets up there, if he does, he's probably not going to make it, I'll be honest. He's probably going to die. But, you know, if he were to get up there, then the cooldown would be refreshed anyway, so might as well just use it. I could also daze him here if I wanted to, but I think I would rather save it. Because if a collector's... another change from Monster Train 2... or from 1 to 2 is that collectors can spawn on the bottom floor sometimes. However, we are guaranteed to draw Pandemic or Rot, so I guess I will just daze this guy. Might as well save the 4 damage. And we'll definitely play this... Ooh, that's right, I forgot. That's gonna be a problem. Did I say it was a razor-sharp edge with no downside? Well, usually it is. Usually it is, because usually I'm playing this on backliners, but I completely forgot about the aspect that it reduces your friendly unit all the way to 1 health. So that's a problem. I'll admit, that is definitely a problem. I guess we might as well put it back here then, just to scale some damage. I'll have to figure out a way to keep my puffballs alive. We don't currently have one, so that's definitely something we'll need to think about. There's generally a lot more ways to screw yourself over. I mean, the pseudoscience can still keep it alive. If I can get enough reanimates, then eventually I can put the attack there. Alright, let's try that. Spikes, it's okay. Yeah, spikes or reanimates what we want, I guess. You know, this guy can die. I will say also, like, I'm playing on Maximum Covenant here, and part of it, at one point, these Vengeful Shards get added instead of deadweights. Like Monster Train 1 had deadweights, now you get Vengeful Shards. You generally don't have to play them. They're not doing that much damage to you, but Pyre health is pretty important in Monster Train 2, and if I can save any little bit, I might as well. So instead of playing Pandemic here, I'm just going to do this. And then we got to reanimate, that's really good. Alright, we got the Collector. And just to say what Madame Lionsbane's doing, on action, I get an AoE sweep. It's kind of redundant with a puffball. Not really, I mean it's stacking it extra, but just visually it might not make sense. So I figured maybe I should clarify that there. See, now the lifesteal's not too useful to me at the moment. Now in this situation, I think I would sacrifice 1 Pyre health for another stack of this. Might as well. The lifesteal probably won't be super relevant. It might be, we'll see. Okay, it looks like Puffball might be dying. It looks like their lifesteal will be relevant, so... Let's see, we got 6 damage incoming here. I think I can get away with... Yeah, I'm gonna give this guy a pandemic and then do this here. The pseudoscience is a little unreliable in this type of situation. It's like, I might be able to get something useful on the squad leader, but I think it's better just to do this. And now this still runs a risk, by the way. Not really. Yeah, this is fine. This is fine. I'm over-explaining just on this first run. In future runs, I don't know that I'll be doing that as much. So he's dead. Might as well just, you know, give him the rot for good measure. So, let's see what we can get here. Okay, for what I need, I definitely want Proliferate or Glow Up. They're really good cards, especially when combined with somebody like Lazarus League, who has a really good buffs like Reanimate. You know, this is not so strong with something like Spikes, like 2 Spikes, whatever. Oh, and then I should explain what Propagate is. Propagate is basically, it will increase any of your buffs on your unit by that amount. So you can imagine some of these buffs are going to be really good to increase with something like this. So like Reanimate, Lifesteal, those are going to be really good because they typically are a low amount of stacks of a high value buff. So those are the type of things you want to use Propagate on. You can also use it to increase debuff stacks on enemies other than Dazed. So, you know, Decay it can be okay with, but like Melee Weakness, for example, we aren't going to have any in this clan combo, but if we had Melee Weakness, it's like really good with that. Anyway, though, another thing here, we're on Maximum Covenant. At one point in the Covenants, one of the things that happens is one of your card picks will always have a Calcified Ember attached. So that's that 3-cost Blight that once you play it, it's permanently purged. So there's an extra consideration here. It's like normally I would want for sure the Proliferate. It's very hard for me to say. Proliferate. I would want that over the Glow Up, typically speaking, because it's even though it's a consume, it's high impact. You know, if I have some buffs that end up going on all my units, it's really good there, but it also will obviously spread on the enemy as well. However, since it has a Calcified Ember, Glow Up might be better. It doesn't have the AoE component, however, it also has Advance, which I may not want. So another thing to think about here is remember how it was nice that I could put this risky operation on my backliner to not worry about it dying. But then, let's say I wanted to increase the amount of lifesteal stacks with Glow Up, though that doesn't really work so well, unless I already had the lifesteal there, so I can't play it like the same turn as a risky operation, if that makes sense. Now, on the flip side, it could be the way that I get around getting some lifesteal on Prickly Puffball, right? Because then I can like move another unit forward, and that would be pretty nice. Meat Hook also can do it, by the way. So Meat Hook, his ability, it dazes the unit and moves it to the front of the floor. You can use it on your own units too, and I do that pretty often. We'll probably be doing that in the Archon fight. I think we'll take Glow Up. And then the other thing just wasn't useful to me because I just don't have Fun Guy synergy at the moment. Okay, this is interesting. I like all of these. And again, Explosive Reaction might be the thing I normally take here, but do I want to take it when it has a Calcified Ember attached to it? Maybe not. I still take stuff when it has Calcified Ember attached. It's just, if it's close, maybe I don't. lean toward that one, right? So Potion Kit's really just a solid card. It's an equipment, gives you some nice stats. You know, a 4/8 is nothing to scoff at for 1 Ember, but then it gives you a nice ability which can allow you to do a variety of things. Now the problem is, because of Pyre of Dominion, I don't have the starter card that would actually work with this a lot better, so I'm probably not going to take it. Typically I would say when you brew things, you want to brew them multiple times. But if I don't have my starter card to assist with that, it's just not going to be nearly as good. So we're probably going to take the Sanguine Assistant, which is funny because I normally don't take this card over these other cards, but given that we're Pyre of Dominion, given that this has an Ember, I think this is the best one. Plus, keep in mind, this gives me an option to get lifesteal onto my puffball and attack. Now the way this works, it's a graft unit. Lazarus has these units called graft units. Now this is a non-priority draw unit since it's in a draft, but we have the sketches, so it's going to come out for free, which is another reason I should definitely take this. But I guess the only thing that might suck is it's going to be a little bit awkward to kill it since it's going to be popping in the back a lot of the time. But I can kill it with Pandemic, I can kill it with Rot. It's just a very high amount of Ember to pay just to kill this thing, but it might be worth it because the item that it gives me is super useful. You know, it'll give me 15 attack, and then it'll just keep giving me lifesteal every single turn. Obviously, we're going to take that in this situation, because like I said, I need survivability on my frontliner. So, I could see reasons for going either way here. I'm leaning toward the Merchant of Magic, and here's why. I don't know though. Either one's pretty good. So, you know, I have knowledge of everything that could show up at these merchants. So the merchants work a bit different than they did in Monster Train 1. They're a lot better now, in my opinion, in terms of what you can predict. So there's going to be 7 big upgrades on either side. You know, when I say big upgrade, that's things like Large Stone, Multi-Strike, Holdover, Double Stack, stuff like that. So there's a few new ones because there was only 4 of them in Monster Train 1 for each of these merchants. Now there's 7. So they got all the original 4 that you've come to know and love for each merchant, but then there's 3 additional ones. There's Holy Stone. So for Merchant Magic, the additional ones are Holy Stone, which heals you based on how much Ember you play. There's Intrinsic, which is this, you know, it's the intrinsic upgrade from the DLC. However, it also gives you an Ember upgrade on top of that. And then there's Spell Chain, which we know about Spell Chain, except this Spell Chain's a little bit different. The copy that it creates does not increase the cost of the copy. It is, however, ephemeral, which means you can't persist it to future draws. Overall, it's better, though, I'd say, than the old Spell Chain. Now, granted, and so that's what's over there. I would say out of the 7 possible upgrades for Merchant of Magic, Spell Chain would be good on Glow Up. You know, just slap a minus 1 Ember, then it's free, and then you can Spell Chain it. Both plays are 0. Then you can propagate 1 unit for 4, or you could propagate 2 of them for 2, but also shift your units around in the process, making it much easier to accomplish what you're trying to do. You can also use it on enemies. It's not entirely useless for that either. So Spell Chain would go there. Another option would be Pseudoscience, but I think I would prefer the Glow Up over Pseudoscience for a Spell Chain. And then the other ones I would be eyeing would be Double Stack. Double Stack would be good on pretty much everything I have. Pandemic, Pseudoscience, Rot. Consumer Move, I would not want to do that on Pandemic probably. However, what I would want to do, there's another new upgrade, which is -2 Ember and add Consume to a card, I would want to pair that with the Rot. So basically that's a way to make it a 1 cost. So there's 3 big upgrades over there that are pretty good for us. And a holdover would be okay as well. So we'll say 3.5. Whereas over here, so along with the 4 original Merchant of Steel upgrades, we got 3 new ones. Dualism, which would work with our Prickly Puffball. It would make the decay 10. It basically doubles any number of a buff or debuff. So that's really good there. It wouldn't really... And also, it would buff, I believe, the lifesteal that I gain from the Vampire's Tooth item here. So that would be good. It wouldn't really work on anybody else, but that's already really good. About as good as double stack, I would say, if we're comparing upgrades. And there's Titanite, which is another new upgrade. That's super good. I'd say Titanite is maybe overall the best upgrade in the game for Merchant of Steel. Both Dualism and Titanite are better than Multi-Strike, for I would say. Just throwing that out there. Multi-Strike is still good, but it's not like the end-all be-all it was in Monster Train 1. It's, I would argue it's like the 4th best upgrade now. Because now, oh, and then there's also Smidge Stone. Smidge Stone just makes your unit 1 pip, which can be pretty useful, especially considering you can pair it with Large Stone. And Large Stone, by the way, you know, I called it something different in Monster Train 1. I ain't even going to call it that anymore in Monster Train 2, because Large Stone is legit. Large Stone is arguably on par with Multi-Strike in terms of what I'm looking for. And in this deck right now, definitely it's better than Multi-Strike for what I want. I would put a Large Stone on one of these puffballs. So of all those I listed off, there's 3 that are really desirable. Dualism, Titanite, and Large Stone. And then the Smidge Stone might be alright. So I'm saying 3.5 as well here. So we're kind of even, I think, right now. So then it's more of a matter of like, do I care about one banner more than the other? Not really. I guess the other thing to factor in is we have a magic here. Then we have a steel there, but I'm probably not hitting that because honestly, Underlegion has like the best artifacts in the game. So I'm totally probably going to try to hit that Merchant of Trinkets there. There's a good steel up there that we can definitely hit. I mean, look, it's Empyrean Wall, which is the same thing as Hellvent. You know, you dupe your unit, or dupe your card. And then Unstable Vortex is obviously good, although less needed with Pyre of Dominion since we removed so many cards already. All of our starters. So that steel for sure will get hit. You'll also notice the banners show up much later because you're just able to have more banners in this game typically because of that deployment phase. But I typically don't want to pick one up that late usually. So this, then again though, it is a Merchant of Trinkets. Like we did mention that Trinkets is really good, so that could be okay. The Celestial Alcove is the same thing as a Cavern. They're generally good, but there's a few duds. Anyway though, almost certainly I'm going to hit that steel, and there's a good steel there too. However, this is another crazy thing about Monster Train 2. The map events are much more balanced. Now, normally, a Pyre Remains would not mean anything to me, right? Well, right here, I'm always thinking at the end of the game, like, I want to hit at least one Pyre Remains because it is that important to have Pyre Remains in Monster Train 2. And I probably don't want to hit this one because it's pretty low value. So all that being considered, it looks like there's a lot of good Merchant of Steels actually. Even though we got a Merchant of Magic here, I think I'm going to lean toward the Merchant of Magic here. Yeah. because there's so many good steals later, and I don't need those steals at the moment. Now, this is the worst possible situation, I would say, what we see here. So, I'll explain why. Freestone is horrible in my opinion. I think it's by far the worst upgrade in the game. I basically never take it, and if you look at my stuff here, it's like, why would I spend money on that? And Holy Stone's not much better. It's at least usable, but it came in at the highest possible cost, and like, if my choices are roll or settle for these, I'm not settling for these. So we know that there's 7 possible choices, which means, you know, I got, what is it, 5 left here. Or sorry, am I saying 7? Yeah, it is 7, so I think we just roll. I mean, double stack would be really good. The thing that sucks too here is the Smolder Stone came first. I generally like to pair it with a consumer move if I can see it, but I think we YOLO this. It's pretty hard for us to play a lot of these cards out, so I think one of our rots, even if we don't get the consumer move on it, I think it'll still be useful just to have it at a 1. And we'll see what we get here. Okay, so we do get the remove consume, but do we want it over holdover? Because I could hold over like a glow up, and that would be really good if I can just get like, if I can get a reanimate and don't pop it immediately, then I could hold over a glow up. And 80 plus 35 is just enough for me to be able to afford both these. Unfortunately, the Eternal Stone, if I buy this, I cannot also get the Ember Stone. So yeah, the question is, do I want to be able to replay my rot? Or do I want to, like, have an endless zero cost glow up? Because the endless zero cost glow up solves a lot of my defensive issues. I think I go with that. You know, I just need to get a stack of reanimate to stick, and then I'm going to be pretty good at that point. Probably should have looked at these first too. Now, Spore Launcher is a really good unit, but not with what we've done. So like I said, there are some units that have rally synergy, which every time you spawn a fun guy will trigger a rally. So you can imagine if you have a deck that spawns a lot of those little mushroom fun guy, this thing will pop off. But unfortunately, we just don't have that. We chose to go the puffball route. So, and don't get me wrong, there are some, actually a lot of runs where I run both. Like a lot of times I will run the puffball along with the Spore Launcher and along with that other unit you saw at the start that I didn't take, the one that spawns, you know, a certain number of shrooms every turn passively. You know, you pair that with this unit, and that's like a ton of decay. Oh, and I didn't even really say what decay does. So decay is like frostbite on steroids. It's instead of 1 damage per stack, it's 3 damage per stack. So, you know, the damage goes down more per tick, but it's also worth a lot more per tick. So, you know, 2 decay, that's 6 damage AoE. And the other unit, I believe, spawned 4 every resolve, so that would be, what, 4 by 3, 12 damage, just by putting the 2 units down, and then any additional rallies you can get in the process. You can imagine it gets really good. Now, I also imagine if you can get dualism into there as well, but I think it's just a little too late for me to try to make that work when I already got a pretty solid game plan here of just stacking these puffballs and then supplementing them with additional decay and making them have a bunch of reanimate or lifesteal. And I don't need a 3rd puffball. I mean, I could. Honestly, I could, but I'd rather try to get one of my puffballs buffed up, like here or here, and then maybe Hellvent them either, you know, up here or here, depending on when I can hit pay dirt. So I don't really need a vanilla one. Should be good here. This will be the longest run I've ever done in my life. Now, -1 ember per turn is actually a pretty brutal one. It not only affects your deployment phase, but it also affects your, every turn, which in a way can be like a drawdown gate on top of that, since I can't get as many units out of the start. However, because I have Sketches of Salvation, it probably doesn't matter as much. It's going to help me just get everything out. Now, here, since we don't have the Mark of Invasion, we want to set up bottom with our power floor here. And then we'll also stack, we want to stack the decay, as quickly as possible. I'm going to put, let's see, I'm going to put Meat Hook up here just in case the Collector spawns up there. The other option was to put it here, but I think it'd be better served up there. Plus it could just, okay, that's interesting, they both are there. Okay, so this is awkward. I ain't gonna lie, this is awkward. Awkward first draw here. It's not that bad. So I think what I'm gonna do is I also don't need to kill this thing with much priority. So like I could spend all my ember and just get this dead, but it would take, I don't know, it's definitely an option, but I think I'd rather this glow up do something right now. And if I just, there's two things I can try here. I can try, let's see, 6, 7, 8, so that's, or sorry, 10, 12. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do pseudoscience here and just see what happens. Yeah, I was afraid of that. So spikes is the worst outcome for me, but it's all good. If it was reanimate, it would have been better. I think I have a few options here. It's like I could do this and then move her forward and she still survives because she has 16 health. It's 12 incoming damage. I'd end up doing a lot less damage though, all in the name of just getting this thing some attack. I think it's probably not worth it, so let's just do this, and I guess we could just do that. I don't know. I also could have just done the Vengeful Shard, but just in case the boss, the boss might be tough if I keep missing on my stuff. So we don't have a great, like I said, 2 spikes is not really that important to me. I'm just gonna move this guy forward. That way this Sanguine Assistant can kill it. This is iffy because this thing's going to go down to 18 health. What I want to do, I think, is hit this with Pandemic. It'll still get her hit off to kill that, but then she'll die, which will give me this Vampire's Tooth that I can transfer to this Prickly Puffball. The problem is he's already down to 5 health, and that's almost certainly going to die to the next wave if I do not specifically get my 1 out of 3 on Reanimate. I suppose worst comes to worst, I could just move the Landsbane forward though, so I think we still do it. Okay, we're gonna try for it here. Okay, we did get the Reanimate, that's really good, so this pretty much is GG. Let's do that. And I don't think the boss will even make it out of this situation here. Yeah, boss is dead, but just for good measure, we'll hit him with the Rot. Give us another pseudoscience. Alright, we're rolling. So you can see why I say multi-strike really isn't that important for a lot of these game plans. You know, if you think about it right now, like, my actual attack power is really not my main source of damage. My main source of damage is decay, along with it, you know, some spikes and whatnot. And sure, I get my 10 attack buff here and there, but it's just mainly to support me healing myself. You know, I need enough damage that I can heal myself in one blow. But then after that, it's like, you know, I just want to do most of my damage with decay. Okay. Infectory is another fun guy support type thing. This is a room card. The room cards are really nice. They're something that you attach to the room. You can only have one per room, so you know you got your 3 floors, so 1 per floor. This one, every time an enemy dies or ally dies, as long as it's not a fun guy itself, it will spawn a fun guy. So this can trigger a lot of rallies as well, and also just help you stack fun guy. However, it's not useful for us, because the thing about fun guy is they spawn in the front, and obviously we want our puff balls in front. So we only take it if I wanted it on a different floor. Granted, I can use my advance to push them forward, but I just don't think it's like too useful for my deck. This is probably a skip. Green Recruit would just not really do anything for me either. It's another sort of rally-based unit that you want to just sort of die in the front, but we didn't take any rally support. Now I could take another rod. I don't know that I'm hitting enough Merchant of Magics to justify that when I already have so many other cards that need to be cost reduced. You know, I'm probably hitting this Merchant of Magic. I could hit the Merchant of Arms. The Merchant of Arms would allow me to take a look at only rooms and equipments, which can be very useful, but I think I just have, if anything, I have so many things that want to be cost reduced right now, particularly Pandemic and this other rot, that I think we're just going to skip this. Ooh, okay, now Overworked Assistant, easily one of my favorite units in the game, and especially it's good with the Sketches of Salvation, because, you know, it's a non-priority draw unit because it's not a banner unit, which can be a little tricky to work around, but with Sketches it's not a problem because I'm guaranteed to get it out. Now the nice thing about this unit is, you know, we already have a holdover glow up, which makes this unit, you know, it already starts with 1 reanimate, so the minute I see the propagate, it's already starting in the back, and I can move it forward and then start stacking reanimate on it. The only thing is, it's really awkward because it would kind of take over my game plan. You know, it's definitely better than the puffball once I get it going. So the incant gain unstable 4 is the big thing here. Basically every time I incant, this unit will apply 4 unstable to itself, or 8 if I can get a dualism. And it just sort of is like a ticking time bomb that once it's ready to go, which it'll be ready quick because I only have 9 health. Basically, once the number of unstable exceeds my health, it'll then blow up in AoE fashion to the entire enemy floor. So this unit just sort of single-handedly can solve almost every problem in the game. I'm very tempted to take it, especially because the other ones aren't like super good for me. I think we'll take it, and here's the thing with this unit. Sometimes it doesn't work out, and that's fine. It's very low investment. It's a 0 cost. It's 1 pip. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Sometimes it's just some AoE, and then it dies twice, and you're good, right? But in a lot of other times, it can just single-handedly carry a run. Now, taking that unit, I'm especially going to go to the Merchant of Magic, because I definitely want cheap cards so that I can spam incants on it. Right, intrinsic and -1. The only reason to not take this immediately before hitting the cavern would be if I get a, what do you call it? Lightstone casing somehow from the cavern, but that's pretty unlikely. In most cases, a much more likely event would be the ×5 event, which I would probably want to get that intrinsic in immediately for. And if I did do that, I think it would be on pseudoscience, oddly enough. Normally it wouldn't, but because now I have this Overworked Assistant, which is totally unit to build around, you know, 1/3 of the time, this is going to give me another stack of reanimate, and even if it doesn't, whatever, I'm going to be propagating this unit anyway, and spikes would be really good. Lifesteal we don't care about on the Overworked Assistant. The Overworked Assistant is just always going to be at 1 health. Which, by the way, going back to the other card, the one that made them fragile and gave them 40 spikes would be amazing for me right now. I definitely wish I had that card instead of Risky Operation at this point. And what, you know, like I said, I typically do want that other card. I probably should have just stuck to my guns there, but it's all good. The other thing I would do would be Pandemic, just because I do want this to be a 1 cost. It doesn't support my Overworked Assistant game plan as much, but the one thing we want to also keep in mind is Ring 7 could have pretty annoying like silence enemies, and that could put a halt to my Overworked Assistant if he ends up spawning in the bottom floor. Because then I need to like almost have like an intrinsic rot or something. I am kind of wondering about just intrinsic the Pandemic. Just for some front-loaded damage. Yeah, I'll do that. And then I'm gonna make this 1 cost. We'll take a look, but we're probably skipping this no matter what it is. Yeah, the Cluster Kernel. See, I could have speculatively took the Spore Launcher and then took a Cluster Kernel here. But I don't know. I already had my floors filled up, and I have the sketches. Like, because I have the sketches, I don't want to add too many units, because I want to guarantee that I get the proper units pulled out from sketches. Yeah, I'm not taking that. We could take this. I think the only time that I don't take this would be Pyreborn, because Pyreborn likely can do Dragon Horde and get a ton of artifacts, but this should be positive. Definitely not removing my sketches, though. Now, we could remove here if we wanted to. I don't really want to, though, because I want as much money going into this Merchant of Trinkets as possible. Alright, so it is pushback, but that's not going to matter. We have a holdover, advance, and propagate, so we're pretty good on that front. I should put the meat hook here, maybe. Yeah. Alright, Overworked Assistant ended up going up top. That's actually really good for me. Now, I do need to make a decision in this fight, though. Do I want to focus on Overworked Assistant in this fight, or should I just stick to my original game plan here? I will say, yeah, okay, we're going to daze this guy. I'm going to propagate him because there's nothing else to propagate this turn anyway. So I've given him now 3 reanimate instead of just 1. These are already just dying. I think we're just going to stack the boss with 2 rots. Like I said, early game, these rots are so good. I'm already doing 146. Make that 174. And it's going to do roughly that amount of damage every turn because he's going to be reapplying his damage once he starts hitting these puffballs. Now I could daze him here, but I actually do want him to hit this puffball just to get 5 more decay. And I could if I want. I could do this, and then he'll get 2 more sap and 2 more decay if I didn't want to use it on my own unit. Now this is a very devastating unit in a lot of against a lot of fights, but not against me because I'm not really that attack based. But every time you incant, he saps you for 2, so that's -4 to your entire floor's attack, which can be pretty devastating, but not for us. So now is our decision point. Do we want to focus on this guy up top who has unstable 16? I'll be honest, I completely forgot that I was incanting him. I was like, oh, I'm only going to incant him once. But yeah, I forgot that I played 2 rots and whatever. So I'm like, yeah, he's got 16 unstable now, so his bomb is already going off. I think it would be just more straightforward for me to stack this unit, so I'm going to keep doing that. Let's play 1 pseudoscience. Got lifesteal. Got more lifesteal. Lifesteal is the one we don't want on this unit, but it's all good. We would like... The spikes isn't that important. Mainly we just want more reanimate stacks, but it's not going to be too big of a deal. Yep, we got another reanimate. Perfect. Some spikes would be alright, but just not that necessary. Yeah, so this thing dies. Nothing we can do about it now. We're not too worried about it, because like I said, I already got this thing doing 40 AoE. It's going to do even more the more and more I keep casting. Now the only question here is... Well, this guy's going to die next turn. We're getting a flying kill, so... Probably not too much to think about here. Yeah, so we're high rolling. Like I said, Pyre of Dominion is stupidly powerful, and we got a lot of other stuff going for us. I feel like a bit of an asshole because, you know, I was saying how Monster Train 2 is way harder than Monster Train 1, and I go ahead and get a flying kill on Ring 3, but, you know, such is life. Okay. I don't know about these, to be honest. They're normally pretty good cards, but seeing what I just saw there, I kind of see my game plan as being pretty straightforward, and I kind of want to just breeze through the rest of this video. The thing is, like, yeah, I'm reanimating a good amount, but is the 8 spikes that relevant to me? Not really. Plus, I just know that I don't know, I think I'd just rather draw the other stuff. Combustion Chute, just a generally useful card, but it's just not needed for me. It's like a AoE card with a bunch of stats for an efficient cost. The Unearthed Treasure is an interesting card. Like I said, there's support for like returning your consumed cards, but right now that only equals Rot or Pandemic, which would be good, don't get me wrong, but it's also just like maybe not that necessary. I think we basically just want to eventually get like double stack or spell chain on our pseudosciences. Spell chain actually be the ideal one, and then just hellvent those. And we don't need any more units. Hulking Mask is another unit I like. The only thing that sucks is it costs 2, but I don't know, it's just a lot of stats, and it works nicely also with spikes. You know, this is a unit that can use the Fragile Spikes spell because it has a ton of armor, and it keeps gaining armor every time it reanimates, so it's a fun unit, but that'll be for another time. I think we want draw. I will say this also, another thing that Monster Train 2 does a phenomenal job at compared to Monster Train 1 is I find myself taking each of these boss relics a pretty even amount. The Pip, they actually made Pip double as useful as it used to be, and ironically I would say I still take it the least. But definitely Ember and Draw are pretty equal for me in Monster Train 2. I would say on most runs I take Ember first. I just don't need to on this one because I have a Sketches. But the thing that Ember helps you do is it helps you get more stuff out in the deployment phase, which in a way kind of translates to a Draw upgrade as well, because then you don't have to redraw those cards. So in terms of like digging through your deck, it's equivalent to a Draw upgrade. So that's why I generally do take Ember first, but we are already playing all of our stuff out at the start, other than like one unit, and then that unit gets played out with the Sketches anyway. So I think we just want to take the Draw upgrade. Alright, so we're going to go left here. We could go right to try to get the health, but the upgrades are so much less useful to me now, because I have kind of just the one unit that I want to focus on. Okay, like I said, Underlegion artifacts are where it's at. Now look at this thing, Shroom Ponics. At the start of turn, friendly units propagate 1. So we know propagate, right? So my guy that starts with Reanimate 1 will get, as long as he has at least one Reanimate at the end of each turn, he's going to gain another Reanimate every turn. And, you know, the moment I put Lifesteal on, same story. It's really, really good. And Odie's Totem is okay, but for what I might take it, honestly. I really wish I took the Ember upgrade now, but so basically when it says -3 here with the blue mark on the Ember, that means -3 deployment Ember. So Odie's Totem would suck in the sense that I'm probably not going to take it here because it screws over my game plan for getting this Overworked Assistant out every time, because then I wouldn't be able to play out my deployment. But it's just nice. It's like it's equivalent to a boss artifact, but you just pay that big downside on deployment. I think I would be open to the Lightstone Casing if because this magic I think is very likely to get hit. I don't care about this Vortex that much. I don't care about the Merchant of Arms that much here. I do want to get some Pyre health, and the Alcove could be good, but I do want to hit that magic, and it's probably the last magic I would hit. So I think the Casing is fine to take here. We could like, now I could get a Spell Chain on the Glow Up, for example, and I would love to take that. Then I'm just getting so much value. I probably should check this before I bought those. Okay, now this is an event. It's funny. I think this event has drawn a lot of ire from some people because they really don't like the art on this crossover event. Which, you know, whatever. I don't care. To me, I really don't care about that. But I got good news for those people. Real good news. My good news is that this event sucks. So you can skip it, and you won't have to worry about it anyway. This to me is like the worst cavern event in the game. I take it sometimes, but like, let's just put it this way. Right now I obviously can't take it because, again, screws over my Sketches game plan because it adds 2 units to my deck. They're not banner units. Maybe if they're banner units I might like it more, but they're not banner units, so they definitely screw up my Sketches game plan. And then the random equipment very often can screw you over, because keep in mind there are random equipments like Stoic Plate Mail that silence your unit. So obviously you don't want to silence any of my units here when all of their value is in their card text, you know. So to me, this, I rarely ever take this event. It's a dud pretty much universally to me. But every now and then I'll take it just to get Endless on a unit. Sometimes that is the only way you can deal with chosen or the minion Seraph, by the way, because there's so much damage on your front line that you need just to get some endless unit out there. Okay, now we could flex here. This I do like this champ in that they are very good at flexing. But I don't think there's much reason for us to do it here. Now, this is my favorite path, which was Man-Eater. It adds the Man-Eating ability, which will sap and decay the enemy unit. And the cooldown is 1, which means you can use it literally every turn. And another thing that isn't pictured here, but you would know if you take additional points of Man-Eater, is eventually it also starts adding Mute to the enemy, which is basically like a decaying form of Silence. And Silence is super useful, especially against a lot of units in this game. But I don't know, maybe I'll still take it. I'm trying to think like what would... It might be pretty good against... yeah, you know what? I'm going to take it, because it's really good against Kale. We'll flex it. And I could remove a card now if I want. It's just not that necessary. I mean... I would remove Risky Operation, but I want my money coming up for the steel, I think, because I still would like to put Titanite on the Sporer dudes if I can. But Dualism is the big one I'm looking for, and that would go on, actually, Overworked Assistant. Alright, we do get a draw downgrade here, which is not that now. I feel pretty good about taking the draw upgrade here, because this would be significantly more hurtful if I hadn't taken it. Now, this boss is super hard, by the way, Corrin the Judge, but it won't be hard for me, because I got just incredible AoE. Go here, I think. Okay, didn't want Overworked Assistant to go to the bottom, but that's okay. Let's go... Right, we got another thing there. That's really good. And we'll just do that. Put one rot there. Might as well give us some lifesteal, right? Should have done that before the propagate, but it's really not too much of an issue. So this is, I don't know. I feel bad that this is the run that I ended up with, but I just don't have time to re-record another video, and I did want to get a video out for release day, so this is just what it's going to have to be. You'll just have to take my word on it. Most runs don't devolve into this debauchery. But hey, I'm not complaining when they do. It's still fun, right? Now I could save this rot for the boss. I think I would. But yeah, this is just gonna be pure debauchery because I have such a stupidly easy game plan now. Yeah, just do that. This is why I saved it for the boss. It's just adding a ton of damage there. Alright, easy peasy. Normally that boss is tough because normally I'm not... Well, there's two things there. A, that was like the... Hordes of Heaven is like the easiest Ring 4. I imagine they'll probably eventually rebalance that a bit, but like other Ring 4s are just ridiculously hard, like Dire Defenses, for example. But nothing would be hard for this deck. This deck is just starting to get insane. But the thing with Corrin the Judge is if you didn't clear all the floors so easily like I did, he's really hard because he sucks all of the whole train worth of enemies down to the floor he's on, and then he's in the back. And for a lot of decks, that is a nightmare to deal with. Now for me, because I have a grenade that's blowing up the entire floor, it's not an issue. But, you know, if I'm like a more reasonable deck, it can be pretty hard. We could take Pox. I really don't need it. Now, Fertile Ground, this is a really good card in a lot of decks. Not our deck, but in a lot of decks it is. And this is another one of those that kind of plays off the consume pile. So this is another card that's really good with Pandemic a lot of the time, because Pandemic is filling your deck every time you play it with consume cards, and you can just eventually play a Fertile Ground and get a ton of spawns when you play it. Truffles is decent too, but I'm not going to take it because it screws with my sketches game plan, and I just don't need random equipment. But there's a lot of runs where the random equipment can be pretty good for you, so this is a skip. And yeah, even the reanimation lab is similar to the chamber. It's like, I just don't need it. I guess I could take it. I mean, it is like scaling. If I take one, I would take the electricity chamber. I mean, I might as well get 8 spikes per reanimate. I wish it didn't come with a calcified ember. Now I kind of wish I took it at that other one, but I don't know. I think even playing it once, especially with the calcified ember now, just doesn't make sense for me to take. And the reanimation lab, it's like the health will not be relevant because, again, I'm applying unstable to myself. I have no need to really get the health because I'm going to be stuck at 1 HP the whole time anyway. So it's like I'm just getting a single strike worth of 7 attack every time. It's not like super useful to me. Alright, we'll go to the right here. Okay. We'll put Titan Item 1 of these for sure. I probably will add another reanimate stack to this. It'll just make it a lot easier for me to survive if I have to go on the bottom floor and move him forward. Especially in these later fights where there's more enemies in the first waves and I'm going to be getting hit by all of them. I could take a smidge stone. It's really not that necessary for me. I could do it preemptively on one of these just to get a large stone to pair with it, but even taking the large stone, I don't need him to be at 1 pip. Like 3 pip is completely fine. I could do the regen here. That would be okay. Yeah, we'll do that. It's a ton of regen. We'll put large stone on the other one then. We'd love to get dualism on the Overworked Assistant primarily, but we have more, merchants of steel in our future to try that with, so we'll just leave that slot open for now. So yeah, I don't think we really need Risky Operation. We keep redrawing it, and it's like, I'd play it, but I just don't really need it. I'd much rather see the Pseudoscience and the Pandemic more often. So we'll do that. And then Hellvent. I could Hellvent the Glow Up. Let me think. Ring 5. Is there anything that screws me? Ring 5, not really. So I don't need to make a Desperation Hellvent or anything. I could get another Overworked Assistant just to guarantee that I don't have to go to the bottom floor. But even then, I may as well wait. I do have the Lightstone casing too, which makes me hesitant to, I kind of snap-picked this map event, but I don't necessarily have a great Hellvent. My problem is I would rather wait on either of these things, either the Assistant or the Glow Up, because I want an additional upgrade before Hellventing them. Glow Up, mainly, I just want to... You know what I just realized about the Glow Up? For some reason I was thinking I had Intrinsic on it, because I've been drawing it turn 1 every turn. But that's actually not the case. It actually is not intrinsic, it's just a normal Ember upgrade. I've just been getting lucky. That's another thing to think about. Which makes me even more want to just helmet this assistant, because it's like... yeah. I think that's maybe what I need to do. Alright, we're going to helmet the assistant. If that's the case, let's get rid of... let's see, so I got 4 Ember. Let's get rid of Squad Leader. Because it's like I play 1, 2, 3, 4. The only reason I might want to remove this Sanguine Assistant instead is because if I do end up taking an Ember upgrade, which I don't think I will on this deck. I don't think I would, but if I did, then that would actually be the better removal. I think we're just going to remove the Squad Leader though. So this makes it so I'm guaranteeing my sketches. Alright, enemy units get reanimate. That's not too bad here. This boss could be annoying, but probably won't be too bad because, yeah, this prickly puffball will be... either of these prickly puffballs will be incredibly useful against that. Let's just double up the top, I think. Okay. Do I want to focus on the middle floor or the top floor? It's like, do I need to give myself time to stack things up? I don't think so. So we see here we did not get the glove. I guess, to be fair though, I have so few cards in this deck. It basically is intrinsic, but if I low roll there, then it's not going to happen. But yeah, let me think about this. I think I just go here. No need to Vengeful Shard. I might as well just take the damage. I'll be at full health soon enough. Nice. We high roll there and get double reanimate. That's really good. Okay. We'll move you forward. I guess I'll do this first. Alright, he's good. Let's hit him with 1 rot. Do that. When I get a more reasonable run, maybe I'll explain more about what some of these enemies do. Like this guy's enchanting with Titan Skin. It's a defensive buff. That's all you really need to know there. Focusing on just stacking this guy up. And this is, for example, like why maybe I should have went up top so I could get myself another... this guy could apply Decay, and I would give myself another turn to stack more Unstable. The reason I did it middle, though, is because I'm a little worried about the boss. The boss has a ton of that Titan Skin buff that you see here. It has like 40 instead of 5, so it's like... I don't want to overestimate how hard this boss might end up being for me. Now, I don't actually want... I could do that there. Let me think. These guys will finish that guy off, though, so I think I just keep doing this. Oh, actually, I got just enough there to kill it anyway. I've also forgot to be using my ability with Madame Lionsbane. Oops, that's very common of me to do with abilities, unfortunately. But I just haven't really needed it. But if I was playing a little more smart, I'd be doing that every turn. It's just such an easy run for me right now that I don't really have to do that. But yeah, we'll do... Oh wow, this is actually soloing him. Amazing. I'll do that for good measure. I didn't expect this to solo him. Oh, that's right. Yeah, he's got really low attack. I want to. Okay, I better not say anything. I want to say they buffed his attack because that's pretty low, but you know, we'll just say whatever there. Anyway, I guess we're beating him. I guess we're beating him there. Usually, he seems harder to me, but there's certainly a floor that I literally didn't focus anything on, just soloed him, so that's pretty good. Basically, my Titanite was my Titanite plus my regen amount was too much for him to handle. There we go. Now this is a room example of something I was holding out for that I knew would be much more useful to me than like the spikes room or the reanimate stat or the stats on reanimate room. And that's the grow room, which is definitely a contender for one of the best cards in the game in my opinion. These other units are definitely not going to get taken because I have the sketches, but they can be okay as well. You know, they're just kind of a one-time card that does a big summon effect, and if you put endless on them, they're pretty good. But the grow room here is absolutely getting taken. Now, Organ Harvester is normally very good, but not with this deck. You know, I'm not actually slaying anything typically with this deck. I'm just blasting them with unstable, and those do not count as slays when I kill them with a debuff that is attached to my unit. So this is probably a skip. Puffer Flesh is something I could do if I needed it, but it's a fun unit, but it's just not nearly as good as the Overworked Assistant. And then a Horrify if I want to daze the enemy, which I just don't. At this point, I want them to hit me. I want them to hit me as much as possible. Normally, I would hit the alcove first before getting the health, but I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that I'm not going to take any events that hurt my pyre health, so it was fine for me to take it there. I think I'm definitely okay making one of these rots consumer move, but we should check this out first. Okay, well, it is a consumable event, so good thing I didn't buy it yet, but these are most likely not going to be good for me. Oh, like I said, avoid spoilers. I mean, I kind of gave it away at the start when I'm saying like, oh, we're going to look at the new clans here, but yeah, there's elements, we'll say, of the original clans in here, so I can get Stitch and Guard consumable, Pyreborn consumable, or Luna Coven consumable. I could try for a Pyreborn because I want to say I could get a Dragon Horde card. I don't know if that's actually true though. I think it's usually just Pyre class, which I don't care about. Honestly, the event's kind of a dud usually. At least you get to see the cool cat though. So we've actually dudded on our cavern events, but that's okay. Nothing else has dudded. Alright, so I will commit to this. I definitely want one of these rots to keep coming back. It's just going to be pretty useful. Alright, we want one of these to be cheap. Do I want that cheap instead though? I don't know. Don't think I want any of these others. Oh yeah, double stack, perfect. Or sorry, spell chain. Can I afford both? That's 170, 180. Damn, I'm 5 gold short. So I think that's fine. I want to spell chain this anyway, and it would have been nice to double stack, but what did I buy instead? I bought the consumer move. I stand by it. A double stack would have been better for sure, but I didn't know that I was going to get literally the nuts there. Do I want to do that now that I got the glow up? I think this is okay to do. I could also just do this, make it 0 cost. That's maybe better. It's like, do I not want to see my 1-cost pseudoscience more than I don't want to have or do I want just the rot to be free? Now, one thing I will say, just to clarify things, they return to the very original old, like, beta Monster Train 1 way of doing things, where if I have Eternal Stone, it trumps any other consume on the card. So me adding this -2 in consume does not now negate my Eternal Stone. My Eternal Stone will always keep the consume element removed. So I can do this and it's still gonna come back to my hand, or come back to my deck. And I think I will do that because it's just a powerful play to have it be costing 0. Alright, Holy Feed. I'll definitely need to remember to use my ability in this fight. And we definitely want the meat hook here because it is damage shield Kale, and even though I'll be doing a lot of damage already, I do want to hit them and break all damage shields so that the decay can tick. Then again, I think in this fight I just bring the middle guy forward again, right? Pretty sure that's the case. Yeah, let's bring you forward. I also got a great Hellvent target now. I'm gonna literally Hellvent that Propagate card as much as I can. Alright, let's go like this. Try to get a flying kill again, why not? Alright, we want to propagate this floor. I don't think we need to worry about the enemies too much. Let's just try to get that flying kill. I should get rid of that other Pandemic, the 2-cost one, since I'm not going to hit any more Merchant of Magics. It's just like never going to get played. And I'm taking a double withdraw upgrade here. I don't think we're going to get a flying kill. If we are, maybe like 1 turn left, maybe. Yeah, looks like we will get a flying kill, but just with 1 turn remaining. I'll take it. Gotta go for the high score, right? I thought I would get it. Well, maybe we're not getting it. Can I? Doesn't look like it. Oh well. I tried. Here, we'll play this Pandemic 1 time before we remove it, just to make it feel like it did something. Tome of Horrors. Now this card I really like. This is probably my favorite card in the game. We're definitely going to take it here. It just sucks that I'm probably not going to hit a Merchant of Magic. Yeah, I mean, it's like, that Merchant of Magic is just so unenticing compared to this side. I think I'll still take it though. Even a vanilla version of it is good, but this card particularly shines with a plethora of upgrades, like Consume, Remove, and Double Stack in particular are really good on this. But, you know, even as a one-off, I'll take it. It's still going to be useful. I don't know, though. Now I am thinking that the Electricity Chamber might outdo it here, since I'm probably not going to hit that Merchant of Magic. If it's just a vanilla 3 cost, and I'm probably taking a draw upgrade here, I may actually need this extra spikes. If I don't hit on dualism at either of these shops, which by the way is pretty unlikely that I don't hit it. Keep in mind, if I'm re-rolling at each shop, and I'm only interested in dualism at this point, that's a 4 out of 7 chance at each of those shops to find dualism. So it's like better than a 50-50 at each of those shops for me to find dualism. So I'd have to lose that 4 out of 7 twice. It's not massively unlikely, but the odds are in my favor that I find dualism. However, though, if I don't find dualism, I should still probably want a backup plan to be able to do enough damage in the end game, because right now I may not have enough, and Electricity Chamber will maybe give me that. Now, double draw is very rare for me to take, but these are the type of runs where I would take it, where I really don't have a big need of Ember, and I have these really good zero cost cards that I just want to play as much as possible. Alright, multi-strike. Now, I mean, look at this. It is very unenticing to me, right? Like, I'm not even going to spend money on it. And that's pretty common for me in Monster Train 2. Now, I'm not going to say it's a bad upgrade. I still definitely like to see it in a lot of clan combos, but it is just not the end-all be-all that it used to be. Now, I could go Smidgestone here if I needed it. It's often an okay play to mix these, Large Stone and Smidgestone. You know, but in this case, it's just such a weird run because of the sketches that I just don't need it. So we're not even going to spend money on that. I'm going to hold out for a Titanite on that Large Stone, the Large Stone Prickly Puffball. I'll tell you what though, I might as well put some money, a mild amount of money into this meat hook, just so it can survive some hits. And I might as well do this too. Alright, we got our dualism. Perfect. Let's do that. And we're still going to hit another Merchant of Steel, so instead of doing like this, I might as well hold out for another dualism, because I want to Hellvent the Propagate card first before I try to Hellvent like an Overworked Assistant. Oh, and we got the Titanite here. That's good too. So we'll do that. We still want to keep our floors like strong and have a backup plan in case the Overworked Assistant doesn't do what we need it to do. So we're going to take the glow up upgrade here. And I want to get the second point of Maneater because you notice here now the mute comes into play, and that can be pretty useful to me depending on a few things. Alright, we're fighting the Savagery's Final Assault. I think, to me, this is typically the hardest Ring 7. It can be pretty brutal, especially with a Heaven Seal, but we got a really good setup here. So these guys can really devastate your Pyre. Basically, if your floors are empty, this is why I say I really like running a 3-floor setup, is because of enemies like this. And, you know, if I ran into this fight with a 1-floor setup, granted we're still focusing on like 1 floor, right? But we're still filling our floors and they're passively there, right? And if I didn't do that, if I just only focused on like a top floor setup, then this type of fight would wreck me. I'd still survive it because I went in with full health here, but I would lose like half my pyre health simply to their effect. Anyway, though, we're gonna... Now we hope to see the dualism guy on the top floor here because we want time to power up our guy. But, you know, either way, it's gonna be fine. We want the damage up here, stack the decay there. Alright, we got the perfect setup. So we got the Overworked Assistant with the dualism on the top, which gives us the most time to work with it. So that's great. And we drew both of our glow ups. Oops. Almost hit him with the hook hand. That was interesting. It's weird that it allows me to actually do that. I never noticed that. That'd be really cool if you could hook like another unit to that floor. Alas, you cannot though. Okay, this is great. I can preserve my health here by sapping the AoE unit. It'll still kill that guy, but nobody cares about that. I could do this if I wanted to, but I want to make sure that since this guy's has Heaven's Seal, we want to stack as much damage there as possible. I'm going to put this here. We do want to play this. So I'm not taking that final pyre health. I do want to actually preserve my pyre health, so I'm gonna not take even just the one here. You'll see in the final battle, like it can deal a lot of pyre damage. Alright, we'll just want to incant here 3 times. That way we can kill that. Or we can just rot it. Not killing that though. I think we'll just rot that. I can kill this if I incant enough times here. Yeah, we should be good. I'm gaining almost 20 per cast, so... Yeah, he's dead. We'll do that. We'll preserve my health. I forgot to hit that guy, but we'll hit this guy. I also forgot to, yeah, I'm gonna die. This girl's gonna die as a result. That's fine though, we don't really care. I just need, this guy should stay alive on his own, so. Just need this floor to be good. Now, I think the boss will have one of these amalgams with them, so I do need to think about maybe trying to put something down here, because now my top floor should be fine at this point. I could technically stay alive one more turn with Madam. No, that's not true. Well, I could. I just had to put like all of my damage down there, which might not be advisable. Yeah, let's do this. I need to try to keep the puffball at full health, I think. I do need to get this calcified ember played as well, I think. I mean, technically, the upcoming Vortex only wants to remove Pandemic. I probably should have just removed it with gold, but I'm being greedy. I probably want to remove that pseudoscience as well. I could get the regen up here. Let's see what this has. Okay, that gave me a reanimate. That makes me want to do at least one of these down here. I think I'm just going to use my Vortex on that calcified ember, maybe, or just money on it. I haven't really... I think I've only bought one removal, so... fine there. I have 38 reanimate. I think we're good up there. I guess I can pay 1 pyre health for this, huh? Let's do it. I might even be able to just finish this fight at the bottom. I'll give this guy an incant, I guess. Yeah, looks like we're good down here. Turns out I didn't even need my Overworked Assistant. But yeah. GG to that. I feel like this run is like this is a real deep cut. I'd be really surprised if anybody knows the video I'm talking about, but there's like this Larry Bird video you can find on YouTube where he's like talking to a reporter and he's trying to tell them how to like not make a shot, like how to do it with bad form, but it just keeps going in. I feel like that's loosely analogous to this run, like, but whatever. Spike the Legion's probably okay. I just don't really want to take this Calcified Ember at this point. Plus, I don't have any Ember upgrades. Yeah, I just think we skip this. Replicator Ray is really, really good in my opinion. But again, with this deck, not really. We technically do have equipment with the Sanguine Assistant, but it's, I don't know. Honestly, it could be pretty powerful. I could take it, actually. Just for the flavor, I guess. The extra flavor. Let's take it. So it's really nice. You, basically, you can use it to, granted, I'm not going to have the Ember to play this at all, but we'll do it. Hey, that's why I played the Calcified Ember. Now I can still kill the other one with the Vortex. Or Pyre Tap, just turn my Pyre health into playing, sure. I definitely want both of those. This one sucks. This is one of the worst artifacts in the game, in my opinion. I mean, it's okay, I guess, but it says at the end of the turn, unstable increases by 5. That is on every enemy and ally, but 5 is such a low amount. I get 8 per incant, so it's like, you can see it's just like not that relevant. If I was like having a bunch of gold left over, maybe I go for it. Alright, we got our dualism. Now we don't have to Hellfent this guy, which is great. I can Hellfent the Propagate card. Titanite and dualism, I still say, are like the 2 best upgrades in the game. Almost every single run, no matter what my clan combo, those are always going to be things that I'm looking for. I think we reroll. Now, compare that last unstable artifact to this one, and you see which one's better, right? Right? It's that one. In case you were wondering, it's that one. Now, I can make one more removal, but I don't think I need it. So we know for sure we want to remove this Pandemic. And this I guess I do want to make a removal, so I'll get rid of this Pseudoscience, because I didn't really want it, because it costs 1, and, you know, the other one's better. Which means we can just remove that with gold, that way we don't have to play it. Or I remove that, because this is not nearly as good as the Grow Room. I forgot that you can't play... I forgot I had these rooms. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to play them together, but you can't play them on top of each other. I could play them in separate rooms, which often is good to have separate rooms like that, but not on this run. On this run, I really just want to focus on whichever floor I'm incanting a crap ton onto the Overworked Assistant. So, I think we just removed the electricity chamber. And we got 25 gold to spend. Might as well just put it there then. And we'll Hellvent the glow up, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Alright. let's go win it. Now this is normally a hard boss, but he's not here. He's not here. I didn't actually want to start with the grow room because I don't know which floor is not going to have an Overworked Assistant. You know, one of my 3 floors will not have one, so I'm actually going to not play it. That would have actually been a reason to keep the Spikes room. Oh well. Or I could just yellow it because I really don't need it anyway to be that good, you know? I'm just going to yellow it down here. Alright, I lost the 1 out of 3, whatever. Let's see, let's go there. Alright, we'll do this. I was like, do I put him forward this turn? Sure. I'm gonna just do this because I don't want him to actually kill my prickly puffball. It will kill my prickly puffball, no problem, with its strike effect, and then I would not be able to kill these Scourge Shufflers. So I need to keep the puffball alive because these Scourge Shufflers will overrun me at some point if I don't do that. But yeah, if I have him dazed, the more I can keep him dazed, the better. And when he does meet, I can also mute him. So we're good there. So now do I want to get rid of this Ember here? I think I do. It's worth 1 health to do that. Now I could do this to try to set up the Replicator Ray. Because I really don't need this right now. It's at this point in the game, this rot is pretty irrelevant in terms of killing the boss. So yeah, let's get that killed, and I'll just have to redraw that Vampire's Tooth. But what I'm gonna do is I'll probably wait 2 or 3 turns, and I'll try to dupe this unit by doing that. This is a good turn to put it on, though. Killed that. See, I'm telling you, Man-Eaters, it's great. Granted, if I would have went full decay, I'd still be killing that thing anyway, but, you know, whatever. Alright, let's get you muted. I guess it's still dying. I could try to keep it alive. This would have been a good turn to have pseudoscience. I guess I could have thought ahead a little bit more there. Is there any way I can keep this guy alive? He is taking 1/2 damage because of Titanite. So at the minimum I'm taking 12 plus 15. I think it's going to be pretty hard to keep him alive. Yeah, I think we just let him die. Granted, the regen does proc before the corruption. Yeah, whatever. We can kill those Scourge Shufflers with rot and stuff. Speaking of rot, though, so I could Replicator Ray here now, but I want to wait until I have some more damage. Maybe there's a world where I can get a flying kill. Let's hit you with some of this. Alright, Man-Eater. Now technically this turn I would not have been able to kill that if I had gone full decay, so Man-Eater wins. I think this is a good turn to Replicator Ray. I mean, I do take 2 damage by doing it, but I would, it doesn't actually do much for me here, does it? Yeah, whatever. Well, you can see Replicator there. It's like not needed here, obviously, on this run, but there are definitely runs where Replicator Ray is like a godsend. We're gonna rot that guy so he dies. This floor is not doing incredibly hot. Can I... lifesteal? Yes, not bad, not bad. Keep on focusing this floor. Hit you. Like I said, though, Lazarus does not care about this boss, but you can imagine if I wasn't such a, you know, just not caring about all this damage, how hard it can be to actually keep your floors alive. I mean, look at, it's like, I had a 3-floor setup for most of this. Granted, my Decayer did eventually die down there, but even with all of that, we're still looking at 71 corruption, and there's still some waves left, right? The way it works is he applies 4 blanket corruption on action, but then also when it strikes, it will double the corruption on the unit, and that by the way continues into Relentless. So this boss can be a bit of a pain, but not for us because we are absolutely broken here. I think we're going to get a flying kill. Yeah, we're going to get a flying kill. And that is how we do it. Alright, now you're going to see the final boss, which is unfortunate that this will be your first view of it if your first view is it here, because normally, I really like this fight, by the way. I love the design of the fight. It's not like, there are some things that maybe could be improved, but overall it's such a unique fight. Basically the way it works is, it's like as if a Relentless round was being played out turn by turn. You know, there is no Relentless in this fight. Your job is to kill these 3 titans, and the fight will not end until you do that, until either you or them die, which I think is super cool. It's not going to be a hard fight for us because our deck is stupid, but it can be a very tactical fight in a lot of cases, and I really like it. So sorry that this was such a degenerate, you know, such a degenerate run to showcase the game with, but I guess that's how it is sometimes, right? I don't have time to record another one, so I wanted to get a video out on release day, and this is going to have to be it. We again didn't get the dude at the bottom, which is actually fine here, I think. So I'll try to just explain everything that's going on here. You got the Dominion Titan that is just sitting in your pyre, hitting you every turn. This is why cards like Pandemic are really good, because you can sap him, and then his attack will not actually hit you. So sap is very useful. I usually like to have some going into this fight, especially because I don't always go in with this high of pyre health. Sometimes I'm going in with like 40 or 50 pyre health, and that's going to be a close run. Like, I expect to probably take around 40 on average pyre health in any fight, but I think we're going to be pretty good in this fight because I have a lot of sap and I got 3 floors. So, you know, there's a lot of pyre damage that happens in this fight, but you can mitigate it with things like sap and daze for this guy. And then with this guy, you want to make sure that your floors are filled. You can't always do it, by the way, because this guy ends up scaling really fast and he'll just start deleting your floors. But at least for a while, you can keep your floors somewhat filled. And then he basically has the same thing that those amalgams have, where you'll take like 5 pyre damage Here, I'll hit Alt here. Yeah, oh yeah, the resolve effect. So you'll take 5 pyre damage if there's nobody on the floor. So if you're not sapping Dominion and you're not dazing him and you're not having a floor filled, then you're going to take 8 pyre damage that turn. That's just something to think about. So, and you might even take more if you're a deck that can't handle this thing, which is the Curse of Entropy. That will apply 4 sap to all your floors if you play it, but if you don't play it, it will do 3 damage to your pyre. So it's even more pyre damage to take. But we don't really care about that. So I'm going to hit this guy with some of that. I'm going to bring you forward. Now these guys, unfortunately, as I didn't really get to showcase them much this run, but they're not even going to be too useful in this fight because Entropy, which is basically, you know, kind of like Divinity, cannot be dazed. So, because of the Fate Link keyword there. So even if I used this on them, it does nothing. He's immune to that daze effect. And also, you only have so many ways to damage Dominion. You know, he'll be attacking you, but your pyre will also attack him every turn. But we're one of the weaker attack pyres, so we actually want to add a little bit of extra damage onto this this Dominion guy. So we're adding 15 decay. That's going to significantly help us a little bit with the damage. Now every turn he's going to give us a spell that we can play, but I may not be able to play it every turn, so we'll just have to see. But yeah, we'll still focus on this top floor here. And you know, oh yeah, and then I got that decay as well. So this is going to be a good amount of damage. You have to kind of gauge who's going to be a problem. I just don't think that Entropy and Savagery are going to be a problem for me because I'm already going to stack some decay initially on Savagery and Entropy, and then this guy's blasting both of them whenever he comes to the floor, so I'm not too worried about him. I do also need to maybe get the Sanguine Assistant killed, which there will be sweeping enemies that will just do that on their own, so that'll be fine. So this is the card that gets generated that can interact with Dominion, and we'll play it here because we want to damage Dominion. So what it does is it increases your pyre attack by 10 for the whole fight, and then also attacks the Dominion dude. We do need to set up the replicator ray, and this is a pretty good turn to do it, so I'm going to do it now while I have the Ember. I'll probably wait until Savagery meets me a second time up at that top floor. Oh, and yeah, so Savagery, it will loop back to the bottom floor, but every time it loops, it gains multi-strike. So he's gaining rage and multi-strike. Granted, he didn't gain rage that first turn because I muted him. Actually, I muted him I muted him, so I think I should mute, yeah, I need to mute that guy. I guess I'm still dying down here. It happens. Let me see if I could try to keep this floor alive. It might be a fruitless effort, though, because Savagery is going to be hitting just too strong. I think we just have to accept that floor's dead and keep focusing on this floor. Now, I could daze Savagery if I wanted to, by the way. Like, I could daze him twice here. And then, if he's dazed, his resolve does not actually go off, so even though this floor's empty, he'll be having that one leftover dazed, and so he won't actually damage me. But I got plenty of pyre HP to spare here, which means I think I just want to let him hit me, because as you can see, I'm doing about a third of his health here. By the time he comes back, we'll have Replicator raid our stuff, and then I just want to finish him off at that point. Probably should have muted this guy. I forgot that this guy was living. Like, as you can see, it created 2 Scourge cards, which was not the greatest, but whatever. Now we can also do, like, if I want to keep the sap on this guy, I could start glow up there. And that might be okay, because honestly, I've got 31 reanimate. This guy's not dying anytime soon, and I'm just going to replicate ray him. At that point, like, Entropy's already going to die, and by the time Savagery comes back, he's already dead, so I might as well actually start doing my glow-ups on this guy. That way he gets more decay and more sap. Because he's actually the one that's going to take the longest for me to kill at this point. So I might as well just focus on that. So you see, I'm starting to take more pyre damage. We're going to be fine though, because I went in with so much, but this guy actually, oh yeah, because of Shroom Ponics, we've been continually gaining reanimate here, so I'm not actually going to take my damage here, so that's nice. We need to replicate Ray this turn, so we'll do that now. It does mean I don't Pyrelite this. That might not have been worth it, because I was probably going to kill this guy anyway, even without the Replicator Ray, but, you know, just for style points, I feel like it's okay that we did that. Should just take 2 more turns here and then we'll kill them. So the thing is, if you kill any one of these guys, like, we'll be killing both Savagery and Entropy this turn. It doesn't matter, because Dominion is still alive, and vice versa. If I killed Dominion but one of them is still alive, the fight will not end. I have to kill all 3 of them for the fight to end. So that's why it's like, it can get... The fight is really fun when it's close, you know. This obviously wasn't close, but if it had been, you'll just have to take my word on it that it would be much more fun. I still have fun stomping these, but maybe for the viewer they'll want to see a harder run, which, by the way, just like Monster Train 1, you can share your seeds. Totally will love to run anybody's cursed seeds. So this will be GG, because we've already killed Savagery, we've already killed Entropy. He would actually just die naturally, but we might as well kill him in style with a Pyrelite. Boom. So that was a very degenerate, easy run. They're very rarely going to be that easy. But yeah, I guess Pyre of Dominion is easy mode, mostly. I've still lost with Pyre of Dominion, but, you know, it takes some pretty crazy luck to not win with it. Alright, we got a nice high score. And I believe, yeah, you should be able to run this. Another thing that I like about it, wow, that took 2 hours. I have not done a 2-hour run in a very long time. I'm not going to explain things so much in the future videos, so you're just going to have to bear. You're going to have to learn. It'll take me. I wish I could do a daily video. I just can't do it. It's probably going to be a few days until my next video. But my next gameplay video, at least, I may release a meta video. Until then, I don't know. It's hard for me to commit to anything, but you know, between now and the next video, you should have time to learn the game plenty, so that I don't have to explain much to you. If that makes sense. I will only just talk about decision points. I'm gonna assume that you know the mechanics of everything in future videos, because I'm not taking 2 hours to do this again. Sorry. But another thing I will say, I really like that they added like a no reload symbol to these. That's what this symbol right here is. And you know, whatever. Yeah, I did not And I don't see it as a way to like police the way people are playing their single player games, but to me it's important in these type of things where I'm creating a challenge seed, because it's like, especially for like the daily challenges in particular, it's like a big reason I did not like to play the dailies past a certain point in Monster Train 1 was because it's like, to be competitive you basically have to reload like 1,000,000 times on certain challenges, especially if there's like something like moth magic or something. But now that they added this symbol, it's like you can basically play it however you want. It's like you can still play a challenge reloading it to your heart's content, or you can play it without reloading, and then it's like you can kind of compete in a different silo, right? So now I can actually enjoy dailies. I do the dailies pretty often now because I can try to do it daily, you know, or custom challenge, whatever challenge, I can try to do it without reloading, which is more fun for me, and not feel like I'm just throwing away my ability to be competitive, because now I'm kind of competing in my own silo, right? Whatever though, I'm losing my voice because I've talked for 2 hours. Anyway, I hope this was a fun run for you. It was a fun run for me, even though it devolved into what it devolved into. I'll make sure my next video is not the Pyre of Dominion, let's put it that way. Anyway, as always, thanks for watching, and until next time, peace.